review show. I am Ross Molazar. The Keep, 1983, Michael Mann. Should be no problem for me. I'm a Michael Mann fanboy. Me and Gaz are suckers for historical fiction and things of the World War II nature. So this is right up our alley. First and foremost, head on over to, well, you can like, sub, and share if you're here, but you can head on over to at Mosh Shinobi and give Jack Gaz Death, aka Mosh Shinobi, a follow. Trying to think if there's anything else where there's a lot going down. We'll just say that director Lauren Lepre is dropping interviews for Camera X to K Word, a P word. I can't really say the whole title of his film there, guys. No big deal. And also, we're going to be dropping Dark Military Rogue. So it's already on Average Superstar TV. You can go check it out there. We've got the trailer linked. We also have the Keep trailer linked below, as well as you can watch the full film with ads for free on YouTube. So I have that full link there too. So I think Gaz kept bringing this up. I think Slipknot may have originally mentioned it. He's one of our main viewers here over on the channel. So bit of a bounce back for Slipknot after our last one that we did, but I like this one a lot more. So any other introductions, guys? Otherwise, I can do a few more channel updates.
No, just the same as you. It's a film I'd always heard about. It's on TV a lot. I'd never watched it myself. Slip recommended it as well. So yeah, I'm pretty stoked to get into it, man.
Hell yeah, me too. There's obviously things that are amazing about it. Good score, set design, special effects have problems. I wouldn't even say they're terrible compared to just some of the piece of craps that get released in Hollywood nowadays. But the special effects designer actually passed away, I think, mid-production. So it was kind of like people trying to catch the ball, and you know what I mean? That happens. Otherwise, The Crow, Days of Sodom, is going to be released. I believe it's Black Friday at the end of next month. They just had a premiere in Baltimore, if I'm not mistaken. They're going to have an LA premiere at Mann's Chinese Theater in LA. I've always wanted to go there. That's where all the big major, even Grindhouse premieres to this day,
nice.
Like Kung Fu stuff, Van Damme stuff, but Star Wars back in the 70s, like anything that's ever mattered usually gets premiered at Mann's Chinese Theater. So I should be at that, provided I get some notice when it's going down. Skate to Hell premiere is going down in Vegas, January 15th, I believe. So look out for both of those. You're going to see some familiar PXF faces in the picture, whether you like it or not. And I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything, but I think those are the major notes for the time being. Of course, Zodiac Files episode 5, the Lake Herman Road ambush, will be dropping soon. You guys have seen what I've said in all the streams. If you want to get involved, send donations to get your name credited under supporters. Just make sure you reach out to me. And it's a good idea to just double check with me if you already have as well. There's been a few people. I am keeping a list, but it doesn't hurt to double check if you threw down. So let's get right into it without further ado, guys. Synopsis: The Keep, 1983, hour 36 minutes. The poster: they were all drawn to the Keep, the soldiers who brought death, the father and daughter fighting for life, the people who have always feared it, and the one man who knows its secret. Tonight, they will all face the evil. That's actually just the poster. Synopsis is: Nazis are forced to turn to a Jewish historian for help in battling the ancient demon they have inadvertently freed from its prison. So this is about as grindhouse as it gets, folks. I'm a massive Michael Mann fanboy. Genre: dark fantasy, folk horror, drama, fantasy horror. I believe this is his follow-up to Thief, which I haven't seen, Gaz, but Tarantino always talks about it like it's the most epic thing ever. James Caan is the lead of Godfather 1 fame. It's basically the Michael Mann movie before this, for lack of a better description. I believe Tangerine Dream did the score to Thief, and they also did the score to The Keep. I think that's one of the strengths, because it's like you're watching this like World War II, 1940, 41, wherever it's set, and it's got this like 80s synth soundtrack. So it's like it's like a clash, but because this movie's so grindhouse, it works. I don't know if
it goes with it.
Guys. Yeah,
especially when they get actually inside the Keep as well.
100%. Like very iconic Michael Mann cinematography, the skylines, the sunsets, you know what I mean? That's all orange and purple hues that you see those in everything from Thief, I imagine, up to Heat. And it's funny, everybody kept asking us for Heat, guys, which we do have on the schedule for December, and I love Heat, of course. Shout out to that recent heist at the Louvre, very the Heat reminiscent. But yeah, it's like I think most people put Michael Mann in like heisting or crime because of Thief and Heat, but then he comes out of nowhere with The Keep. I mean, he wrote the screenplay. It doesn't. I mean, I guess you could say it's a little heisty, you know, Nazis trying to steal Nazi gold, blah blah blah. But it's way more heavy on mythology, historical. You know, I think it's more in that direction.
It ties in with the whole obsession with the occult as well that the
100%.
Nazis had, and that always
100%.
makes interesting movies.
When the
I mean, it's pretty much for those say that don't want to watch the whole review. It's pretty much, if you think of kind of like another Wolfenstein movie. I mean, this is obviously before Wolfenstein. Sure. Overlord vibes to it, with a little bit of an adult version of Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's kind of all that combined.
100%.
And it works well. And there's something about horror mixed with this particular historical period. Even the First World War, there's another movie called Death Trench from 3 years ago, which I haven't seen, but that's one people always recommend as well, about some Allied soldiers being trapped behind enemy lines, and there's a mysterious force there targeting them. So that's going to be
awesome.
One I'm going to peep, see what it's like compared to this. But it's like in Hellboy 1, Ross, in the original, the guy who's like that Nazi soldier, that tied into the whole occult with the so it just works because we know historically then the Third Reich was obsessed with the occult, so it blends well for mixing horror in a historical war movie from that period.
What up, Slippy? You did good, bud. We got
Slip.
to keep rocking. Shout out to you. So yeah, I thought it was awesome. Yeah, as guys said, you know, like the SS, you know, science and occult references, that scientist in Hellboy. I'm going to go completely off script right now, guys. So I'll send this to you. I was watching a video, you know, as you guys know, me and guys have spoken at length that we're both like cryptid fanatics. So I watched I found a bunch of them recently, but I watched an absolutely nuts YouTube video, guys, about Finland during the Reich, during the Second World War. And basically what this video was about was a detachment battalion of werewolves attacking a Reich battalion. And the Finnish said that they went up there. None of their guys were up there. All the Nazi bodies had spent cartridges, spent clips, shells everywhere, but there was no enemy bodies, and the Finns were the only one up there in that territory, and they knew that it wasn't one of theirs. So like the rumor was that they would like hear howls and they would see things, and the bodies were ripped in half, ripped to shreds, headless, stuck in the snow. And there was no explanation. And so like the thought was that it was like they encountered this werewolf pack clan that just absolutely went off on them. It was basically like a mountain, totally, what's the word? Isolated mountain pass. And the Finns got there afterwards and they're like, well, there's the Reich soldiers. There's no enemy bodies. There's not even like, you know, you could obviously see the spent shells from the Reich weapons, but there weren't like other shells from other weapons of whatever attacked them. You know,
there's no one shooting back.
Wasn't Americans, wasn't Finnish, wasn't British. So something went down. I'll send it to you when we get off. It was
that's fire.
Gaz and I have watched a few videos like that.
Yeah,
so
it's like Caesar, the extra hairy edition, isn't it?
Dude, if they added Supernatural to Caesar 3, I would crap my pants.
I know this is all for another show, but just to come in on that, I mean, a different period, bro, there's so much out there on that as well. There's Slip probably knows about this. There's even rumors of werewolves going back to like Saxon times. Here, loads of stories, urban folk tales about it. But yeah, that would be a whole other show, folks.
Yes, on that note, so we're just not rambling to you guys like, hey, this is the key. By the way, werewolves had high activity in WW2. We do have our first scripted show looking like it's going to be booked. You guys wanted Bigfoot.
Yeah.
We're going to be discussing some Sasquatch, North American Great Ape, but we do have an expert, multiple books on the subject, been on TV. If you guys want to do some homework, I recommend you watch the film Legend of Boggy Creek, another Grindhouse-style cryptid film based on a real event, not far from Texarkana, where the Zodiac community is familiar with the Texarkana Phantom. And ironically, Gaz, that is like 1 to 2 years after Zodiac, obviously after the Texarkana Phantom, because that was mid 40s. And then that's the Felk monster. So I'm like, Texarkana sounds like a crazy place to live. There's just serial killers and cryptids running rampant down there. So without further ado, to the keep. So man, I thought it was pretty awesome. My only like real criticism, and this is on Wikipedia, is the sound mixing is all over the place. Like the rumors that Michael Mann has kind of given up. Siskel's quote is essentially that the music like kind of drowns out the dialogue. And apparently we'll cover it on the wiki. I think it's I think Mann's original cut is something like 216 minutes or something like that. So what we got here, I mean, this is super like Gaz was saying, kind of the inconsistencies. There's obviously some jumps just because a massive amount of footage got cut out of this movie. 210 minutes is Mann's original director's cut. And then what gets released is like 96. So you got to think like half the movie we don't really get to watch here, which probably fills in some of our continuity gaps, guys.
Yeah, and that would explain some of the notable plot points. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed this. It's still a good film, but I think we'd have seen Mullasa much more probably in that unreleased. And it would explain, spoiler alert, I know this is jumping far ahead, but it would explain why the daughter of the historian that they bring in to consult on the languages, as well, she kind of just jumps at the flick of a switch literally into the kind of on the angelic opposite when she doesn't see his reflection in the mirror as well. Like, it doesn't give her a cause for alarm. It's like, oh yeah, it's okay, it's fine.
Oh, he's a magical ghost. Boing, boing, boing. Had no problems there. I believe that was that Glaken's? Yeah, she's Kuza, Eva Kuza. I believe that was Glaken's daughter. So there's some people in here. Obviously, we all know Wowerman, Jürgen Prochnow. Seen him in a lot of stuff, guys.
He was very good.
I want to say Robert Prosky's and other stuff. Gabriel Byrne as Comfear. I thought
he was good.
I thought it was maybe the best performance. I mean, he's very good. I've seen him in, obviously End of Days fame, Stigmata, millions of other things. I thought this was the best role I've ever seen him in. Ian McClellan. He's obviously a legend. So he's in there. So they're probably like the notable actors. And of course, Michael Mann, and he wrote it, I think, based possibly with the author. Is this the French
beast? Yeah, I was going to say that, the French.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah, the French. Yeah. That 17th century werewolf. Sounds like that. So what up, Mr. JSV? We're talking World War II, we're talking the Keep, we're talking ancient demons, and then we kind of spun off into werewolves somehow. Don't know how that happened, but it did. But yeah, if you want some homework, definitely watch Legend of Boggy Creek. If you want like something updated, Overlord. If you guys want us to review Overlord, Gaz and I have no problem going back. I was getting myself in the World War II mood. If you guys are looking for a game to play, Darkenstein 3D. It's very Wolfenstein 3D and Doom reminiscent. It's on Steam now for free download, so I've been ripping up that, and it's pretty sick. So I'll take us directly into Wikipedia. The Keep is a 1983 supernatural horror film written and directed by Michael Mann, the GOAT, starring Scott Glenn, Gabriel Byrne, Jürgen Prochnow, Alberta Watson, Ian McClellan. Set in Romania during World War II, it follows a group of Nazi soldiers who unleash a malevolent supernatural force after setting up camp in an ancient stone fortress in the Carpathian Mountains. It is an adaptation of the 1981 novel of the same title by American writer F. Paul Wilson. Don't know anything about him, but that guy's obviously the man for coming up with this insane story. The musical score was composed by Tangerine Dream. I don't know if you knew this, guys, but basically a UK production, mostly filmed out there in Wales, northern Wales.
Yeah.
I was wondering where the
Yeah.
keep was. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Found
we
that
know
to
what
be
you're talking
pretty
about.
interesting.
We know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
we've seen that the French one. Yeah, it's super interesting, man.
I mean, there's no way for me that that is some random coyote that kills 17 people. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. I just that there's way too much to that one. I know what the girl and her sister killed that one, you know, big wolf that was supposed to be it. But come on, you know what I mean?
While we're on werewolves, just to slightly go off topic again, but yeah, there is a movie called Werewolves of the Third Reich, which I haven't seen, and then those other movies I've mentioned. These aren't werewolf movies, but they deal with kind of that horror occult vibe as well. From what I've heard, I've not seen them. That would be Death Trench, as I mentioned, and Death Watch, which I haven't seen either of those.
I've seen all three of the Outposts. I think what we need to watch.
I've seen two of them.
Werewolves, because it's my understanding that the dude that made Dog Soldier, I know they're trying to make a sequel, but I think he might have had something to do with werewolves, and obviously Frank Grillo's and werewolves. The trailer looks sick. I don't know if it's good or bad, but Dog Soldier is obviously incredible. If you guys want that review, just let us know. Because what happened with that is the dude lost the rights to Dog Soldiers. He was trying to get a sequel made. I left him a comment on the gram. I was like, dude, link up with those guys that made werewolves and just like combine it all, you know? It would be tight. Okay, so where was I? Filmed in Wales and at the Shepperton Studios during the autumn of '82. The Keep suffered numerous post-production problems, mainly the death of special effects supervisor Wally Weavers before he completed his work on the film. RIP, shout out to that guy. The film was also subject to significant editing troubles as Mann's original director's cut was 210 minutes long, which its distributor Paramount Pictures, and I usually like most of the stuff that comes out of Paramount, to be honest. They co-produced Zodiac with Warner Brothers, but from what I heard now, guys, they're taking bids and they're going to be sold off. And now James Gunn said he might even be leaving, which you have to assume that would affect the DCU. So there's major studio crap going on there.
I have no problem with him leaving the DCU after that, Josh. So yeah, like come on, go back to Marvel.
If the rest of their properties get ruined, I mean, we've seen what happened with Marvel and Star Wars, and that didn't exactly go good. So you can't just assume that it's going to be great. I don't think he's able to make it, Slippy. So because from what he posted, he said he's like trying to just make something else or change the title. But we'll see what happens. Keep us posted if you guys are up on it. Paramount, who's usually good, required the cut to be 120 minutes after test screenings of the 120-minute version received unfavorable audience responses. The film was truncated to its final 96-minute cut, which was released theatrically in December '83. Upon its release, The Keeper received mixed reviews from film critics, with many criticizing for its unclear narrative, though it received some praise for its visual effects while it performed poorly at the U.S. box office. Despite this, the film has gone on to develop a cult following in the years since the release. I thought it was pretty insane. Anything on that, guys, or you want me to just go straight to plot?
Straight to plot. Just pretty much just 100 with you there.
Straight to plot. In 41, in Romania, following commencement of Operation Barbosa, a motorized Gerbejjager unit of the Wehrmacht under the command of Captain Klaus Wallerman arrives at an uninhabited citadel known as the Keep, with the aim of taking control of the Dinu Pass in the Carpathian Mountains. Two soldiers, Privates Lutz and Anton, attempt to loot a metallic icon within the Keep, but accidentally unleash a spectral entity which kills them all. As you were saying, guys, we can unpack it a little bit. I thought, hey, what up, Pixie? I thought the intro really set the mood quite well. Obviously, Wowerman checks Lux or whoever that was on, like, the soldiers are saying that there's like treasure in the Keep, and he's like, well, that's actually nickel, so don't worry about it being silver. Pretty cool there. So
and there's some what's interesting about this film as well, Ross, is it also sets up some subplots, because one of the prominent ones, Jürgen Prochnau's character, Wollerman, he's more of a true soldier than Gabriel Byrne's character.
Yeah.
And he is just, you get the motivations, Ross. Major spoilers here, folks. He is just fighting for his country of Germany. He doesn't agree with the politics with what's happening. So you see
Reich
that
agenda.
dynamic plays out. There's references to the 1936 Spanish Civil War prior, outbreak of World War II. So that's going on in the background. There's quite a lot. So it gets me thinking, Ross, again, if they released the full version, it could probably add a lot more to the story and feeling. This is still a good film, don't get me wrong. It's still worth a watch.
Yeah, I am going to get into that when we come to it. There is more back and forth between Wodner and Prochnow. Yeah, I'll talk about that when we get to it. A lot of themes in this. The way that the innkeeper, the keep keeper, that dude and his family, they've been keeping for hundreds of years, and his father passed down and they always tell him, like, never go in the keep. No one stays in the keep. He gives a warning. Yeah, I did see Das Boot a long time ago. Just went on a war movie rampage and watched like 40 of them.
Just a few.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of them. So, I mean, me and Gas will try to watch as many as we can for you guys. There's a lot of themes there, and the way it sets up the village and stuff. Actually, one of my best friends was a Romanian American. I don't know if you knew that, Gaz, and his dad.
I do. I know
the ambassador. Yeah, so to Romania. So I probably I know a little bit about Romanian history. There's a lot of different themes, as Gaz said. Of course, you have like Nazi versus Nazi between the two officers, and then when the cross starts glowing and the two soldiers start. They're like, it's silver. Like, I won't call it a plot hole, because Wodner already told him, like, bro, it's nickel. Like, that's why he gave him night watch. Like, hey, you just earned yourself night watch for the whole night because you started talking about treasure when we haven't even set up defenses yet, right? Like, it made sense. But when it started glowing and they're like, it's silver, I thought that was like metallurgy, like alchemy, it played off of their vices, which they're susceptible to going after treasure. Obviously, you find out who Molasar is later, so I thought that like he played off of their vice, which he knew that they would open it if they thought that it was silver. And again, it's not fully explained, but that's how I took it.
The same. Well, it's interesting before that, where when the German soldiers are approaching the keep and the ones not to go in there, and and they say, right, we're going to take our machine guns in there. As you rightly pointed out there, through one of the guys trying to essentially get the silver, he's given first watch. And the shot of the keep from the outside, Ross, you can clearly see, looking at that, it's an ancient structure. Something is in there. You don't want it to get out. Red, I answered you last week 3 times. Yes, I like them. I have them. I listen to them. Where was I? It's got that sinister. It's got that sinister vibe to it, and what I like, Ross, as well, with their interactions with the priests and the villagers. Did you think it? And we see this a little later in the film. It does play on the kind of Dracula legend as well, and I think that's good because people will watch this thinking, right, this is Dracula, or going to be some kind of vampire, and it's actually not.
Vampire, yeah, sure. I mean. I like your comparison there. I'm like I haven't watched anything Dracula related sometime. As I said, me and Gaz might check out the Frankenstein when the Guillermo del Toro drops. So big fan of obviously these ancient Gothic films. But as Gaz said, anybody with an architectural eye, you can clearly see it's more of a tomb than it is a defensive. All of the defensive fortresses, they kind of have the same thing with turrets and, the walls and things of that nature. And it's explained a little bit later, I think, it's Vermin who points out that the heavier boulders are closer to the inside, meaning it's to keep something in as opposed to keep defenses out. So,
and it's also, and this would probably be in the true cut, I guess, but I don't think it's really explained, is it, why they were sent there? And they've just been told to go there and guard it. So you would assume the Nazi.
I think it's more of like the town and the terrain than it is specifically that building. I think it's like a defensive position.
Right. Because it had me thinking, my man just thought, surely the Nazis maybe must know there's something there and they're trying to get its power, possibly. I was thinking that as well.
I don't think that is really, because obviously Warman's unit doesn't appear to have that
that knowledge there.
assignment,
Yeah.
mission. Whereas like you'd think that would be more of like, at least from the Wolfenstein perspective and those other films you mentioned, like the SS is usually involved with that.
They would know. They've just been
artifact.
sent to
So
guard.
when
Yeah.
when the next officer shows up, you see that he's like a little bit more gun ho. Although
I thought that the same. I mean, the standard soldiers, they would just be sent there to guard or whatever. They wouldn't be briefed to that level of intelligence. But the SS certainly would be.
Yeah, right. I think it's more about the defensive position, because it says Warman arrives at the uninhabited citadel known as the Keep with the aim of taking control of the Dinu Pass in the Carpathian.
They're right.
So I think it's more about controlling the defensive position of the pass. Lutz and Anton attempt to loot the metallic icon. The being known as Radu Molasar kills 5 more soldiers in the following days and begins to take corporeal form. A detachment of SS Einsatzkommandos under the command of sadistic SD Sturmbannführer Erich Kampfer arrives to deal with what is thought to be a Soviet partisan activity in a nearby village. He executes 3 civilians as collective punishment and takes another 5 as hostages, despite Voman's protests. Man, I was so pissed when he killed the keepers and his sons, because I was like, you already knew it was downhill from there, because you're like, those are the dudes warning everybody. Usually when a movie starts off killing the warning guy, it's downhill from there. So, like, all right, now there's absolutely nothing to stop just going straight in there. And
Vorman running out as well. Pixie. Vorman running out as well. Protesting, like, what are you doing? But just to back up a bit before then, when the first 2 soldiers are taken out by Molasar, I actually liked, Ross, the when you see, I guess, the awakening of Molasar, and it's like this at that point it's just like a ball of light, and you see that the understructures of the keep, and that must have gone down some levels, and it looks old, it looks mysterious, it looks ancient. So it immediately sparked my imagination, got me thinking, how long's this creature been there? What's its agenda? And then, of course, it takes one of the soldiers out. The other guy trying to pull him back up to the surface, takes him out. And it's simple effects, kind of similar to what they did in the original Fog movie, folks, with the mist. But it works. And then it seems to just flow with the score as well, Ross.
Yeah, I think some of that is due. We'll get into it in production. Michael Mann had different ideas for how Radu Molasar should look. So in his early rendition, it was like an ethereal mist, as Gaz said. Then he kind of changed form as they were kind of working on the movie, which is interesting. And, you guys, I mean, that's interesting. I mean, I'd be down to read it, because I'm that into this story that I would check it out. And then Gaz will have a little update, where the source material is going, at the end here. Our ratings, so we can see, maybe they got a second chance of redemption to get that right. Is the author still alive, Slipknot? That's a question for you. So yeah, it's just typical SS officer. You've seen them in Tarantino in Glorious Bastards, and just ruthless, no empathy. It actually shows up, and so one thing we skipped is Vorman requested moving position, because hey, it's taken out 5 of my men at night. We have absolutely no idea how it's getting at us. Typical response from Nazi Third Reich officers, right? Like, instead of just moving your troops to a safe position, a SS detachment shows up and says that your request is denied. And guess what? We're all staying here. I'm sure the rest of the movie will turn out good. So me and Gaz know how it turned out, because we watched the rest of the film. Didn't turn out good. Spoiler, it didn't turn out good for the Nazis. So under the command, Erich Kampfer, he arrives to deal with what is thought to be a Soviet partisan activity. We talked about him killing the keepers. So as Gaz said, Woman tries to tell him, like, dude, it's not partisan activity. There's no Soviet soldiers in this village. It's just Romanian, townspeople. So Eric, he's got it all wrong. Eric Kampfer has got it all wrong. At the instigation of the local village priest, Father Mayhill Fonescu, I thought he was an excellent character, guys.
Yeah, he was good.
The Germans retrieve an ailing Jewish historian, Theodor Kuza, from a concentration camp. What happens is there's an ancient script, text, graffito written on the wall bit of a cipher, if you will, for the Zodiac heads. None of the Germans or anybody, the Romanians of the town people, are able to translate it. So the priest says, like, hey, there's this historian. He studied this. He would know what it is. And they're like, okay, go get him. And he's like, the father, what's his name? Fonescu. He's like, just one problem. He's a Jew. You guys are the Third Reich. Where do you think you put, so obviously they have to go get him out of the, all right, nice, man. Then he's got a chance for redemption. Slippy will update you. He's got a chance for redemption. So it's, I like this idea of going to get this story and taking him out of the camp. So Kuza deciphers a mysterious message written in Old Slavonic using the Glagolithic alphabet emblazoned on a wall of the citadel. Molazar saves Kuza's daughter Eva from sexual assault by two Ensatskat's commandos and cures him of his debilitating. This movie has some words in it, guys. Scleroderma by touch. Kuza becomes indebted to the entity who demands that Kuza remove a talisman for the keep so that Molazar can escape its confines. I thought it, it does have some pacing issues, guys, but, if you're into Michael Mann and you could just appreciate the cinematography and the lighting and that stuff, you'll be fine. When Kuza had that conversation with Molazar and he cured him and he obviously saved his daughter from being R-worded by the two commandos, I thought it started turning up here. I hear you on the continuity issues. I thought the third act was the best part when Woman and Comfort got into that argument, and everything that ensues after that.
Yeah, that was good. There's some kind of plot holes and issues, I guess, in all acts, but no, it's a good film. I did enjoy it overall because we're obviously suckers for this kind of thing. So, but it's got good atmosphere. There's a lot of deep subplots. I mentioned some earlier, which we'll get into as well, but there's others. The way they particularly introduced kind of the opposite of Molazar as well, that was a little amusing. And the way Scott Glenn, who's playing Glerken, just kind of woke up, the lights literally turned on.
Yeah, for sure. I think Molazar is an amazing villain. He'll have his own solo film. We'll talk about. I think this would make an amazing, video game, like a shooter, as Gaz said, like a Wolfenstein type deal. You could really do a lot with this content. On YouTube, they're comparing him to Thanos. His final form looks a little bit like Apocalypse in that horrible X-Men movie. But you could obviously change him because he shape shifted a bit. So I think you've got room to update him.
He's more of a mix of a demon and a vampire, even though he's neither, as I'm about to say, because he uses both dynamic and kind of energy vampire powers, feeding on the life force of someone, which there is. I've seen it on TV only once. Slip will know more about this than me, probably. But there is another movie, an old school horror about some space vampires called Life Force. I think it's a British movie, or British American movie. And they feed off the energy of people as well. And from the reading I did about the source, Ross Molazar apparently was a sorcerer king from the first age of man. So, pre-recorded history, etc. And that, if you think, is kind of reference with that conversation you're mentioning between Dr. Kuza and Molazar, when Molazar's not, I think, not fully aware of the passage of time, because he kind of gets angry and he says to Kuza, "Are you collaborating with him?" And, Kuza facially says, "No, I wouldn't collaborate with the Nazis by choice." And Molazar saying, "Are they unaliving my people?" So it kind of references that he must have been a lord or a king or something in control of those people, and he's not aware of that full passage of time there. So that was quite cool.
I really like that exchange of him. They brought you in to help. He's obviously a Jew that was brought in from a concentration camp by the Third Reich, exterminating his ethnicity, ethnic cleansing. And then, as Gaz said, Radu Molazar, not aware of the 1940s World War II conflict at all, because, you know, been sleeping for hundreds of thousands of years. But an amazing character. And also, I love his sophistication, the fact that manipulation, the fact that he's willing to heal, you know, Dr. Kuza, save his daughter in order to get what he wants, which is the talisman outside of the keep. So he's not above, you know, trying to manipulate whoever he can to get free of the tomb. Obviously, he's just been taking out the Nazis and later the SS officers, you know, as he pleases, because they're just pulling up to the keep and what's going on here? You know, like they still like what? I mean, obviously, Eric was not going to listen to what's his Compier? No, he's Eric Compier, and the other dude is Vauban. He's obviously not going to listen to him no matter what he said. But if he's like, hey, dude, like my two guys were pulled open the thing, the entity came out of it, you know what I mean? So it obviously came from inside. And what up, Francis? How's it going,
hey,
my
Francis?
Dude? So yeah, I really think it turns up like at that, you know, obviously, and the way Ian McClellan's performance, the way he acts differently when he looked gray and sunken and sick versus when he gets that virility in his face and his hands return to a normal tone. He nails that performance of, you know, when he's like at full strength versus when he's got the debilitating whatever it is, terminal illness.
Did you unintentionally think, come on, Gandalf, just get your staff and say you shall not pass?
Yeah, it would have been funny, because I don't think that would have worked on Radu Molzasar. He would have took that staff, snapped it over his leg, and then ripped the dude's head a bit like when that guy tried to talk to the engineer in Prometheus, and he just picked him up by his neck and like ripped his head off. You know, that's probably what would have happened to Gandalf here. Radu doesn't strike me as a guy afraid of you know, anything that existed in the LOTR verse.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Thanks for that, guys. Let's keep on moving. At the instigation of the local village, we already talked about that. Okay, we already talked about that. Having remotely sensed Molazar's presence, a mysterious stranger named Glaken Trismegistus arrives from the Axis-occupied Greece, and I believe that was actually Spain that doubled for Greece. But man, that shot of him sailing across the ocean with that orange-purple background with the music, that was sick. That was very reminiscent of what we were talking about last time with Karan the boatman going across River Styx. Like that's as much of like a River Styx sequence as you can get. I don't think so. I would call it more like horror, folk horror, dark fantasy.
Yeah, horror war occult, I guess.
You know what would be sick? Mm-hmm. You know, Gaz is going to talk about a remake later on. I'm going to talk about a sequel. I think this would be perfect for sequel treatment. You know, it'd be insane, Gaz, is if they did kind of like a cyberpunk like future with whatever, like a future war, and then it's like another 1,000 or 2,000 years.
Oh,
you know,
man, yeah.
Radu comes out into a future where they're, you know, cyber weapons. Like that could be interesting. I doubt they would go that route, but you know.
It's kind of like, oh man, you've got me thinking of Army of Darkness again as well, with Ash looking at the post-apoc wasteland.
The
ends,
well,
man.
I haven't heard an update on it, but last I heard, the Evil Dead animation was supposed to be Evil Dead Apocalypse, where they were going to pick up on that Apocalypse timeline. So if anybody gets an update, let us know. It's been a while. All right, so he arrives from Greece. There was supposedly a lot more in that scene that I'll talk about later. Seducing Eva and incurring Kuza's ire. The malign power of Molazar begins to affect the villagers, seemingly driving them mad. Dude, you could have did a lot more with that too, like Resident Evil 4, how all the villagers became like that possessed zombie. Like, dude, that would have been cool if he possessed everybody. That would have been crazy, you know.
It's a completely different film to Valkyrie Red Cloud.
Is that the one?
Valkyrie looks more at, I guess, more of an actual historical event. I guess this ties in a bit more with folklore and has the horror aspects. So there's that crossover, sort of completely different movies. But it's still. Yeah, it's still good though. It's still worth a watch.
It's a historical genre switch, Red Cloud. So like it's a bit like if you haven't seen Overlord or even Dusk Till Dawn, where it starts out as like crime and then it goes to like horror. You know what I mean? It's a bit like that, only set in World War II Romania. So kind of sets it aside. A group of soldiers fire on Galakin and force him into a ravine, but he survives. Voman furiously denounces Compier for his sadistic crimes, claiming that the monster hunting the Nazis is a reflection of their evil. See, like that's kind of what I was getting at earlier, guys, which that's a genius theme.
Dude, that whole exchange was so good because it references real world history, real world prior events. As I mentioned earlier, the Spanish Civil War. Voman even mentions to Dr. Cusa earlier that if he was in the Spanish Civil War, he would have fought in the German anti-fascist brigade. So you see that different dynamic, Ross, with a guy who has been a soldier. He's served. He said, I've fought against soldiers that have shot back at me. I haven't just gone in to a village and massacred innocents. That exchange was fantastic. And we just appear to have lost Ross for a moment. So hopefully he's back. I see there's activity there. Maybe Molasar has got him. Oh no, welcome back, Ross. And well, Slip seems to be receiving us. Hopefully it's not just going to be me sat doing commentary here, turn into like a late night radio podcast. Ross is coming back. This whole exchange is... Oh. Is that any better for you? Slamming the guy. Welcome back.
You guys hear me now?
I think Molasard.
I think it got me. They don't want me to cover this film. Sorry about that.
Yeah, when he heard us talking about a remake, the sequel. No!
we released him from the remake tomb.
You are collaborating with them.
Yeah, they're collaborating with Paramount. Yeah. It's him who created the Paramount merger. Yeah. So their conversation suddenly interrupted by the sound of horrible screams and machine gun fire from the keeper's inner courtyard. Comfir shoots and kills Voman, then goes into the silent courtyard. He finds his entire garrison slaughtered by Molazar and all the military vehicles parked inside disabled. That set, dude. I mean, excellent use of one set, location. Yeah. There's a little bit of Spain and Greece and a little bit of the forest, but mostly the keep, mostly the village. When Molazar freaking melts the tank together with all the bodies and the mist on the floor, that set of the battle outside the keep, that is one of the most crazy grindhouse sets ever made.
Man, that's it. Yeah, and the shot when it pans out as well, and you're saying you see all of that. Even before that, Ross, just backing up a bit, when the Nazis are escorting, I'm probably going to butcher the pronunciation here, Glaken, and he throws one of them over the ravine, Ross. That's just before he gets shot and survives. Dude, the way they shot the angles there when they were using the machine guns on Glaken, that was really, really well done. And then this man, it clearly set the tone that yes, Molasar is highly dangerous. That if he gets out there in our world, he's going to slaughter everybody. He doesn't care who it is, who you are. And the atmosphere, just that was something that still stands up now. That whole scene.
That final battle scene. I mean, I give the credit to Michael Mann with the camera angles, guys. And now it's my understanding that they did film that battle, not just Eric and Voman hearing the shots outside, but they actually filmed Molasar executing the SS unit, and it had like their heads exploding, but it was a budgetary thing. So if we can pray to the film gods that Paramount and Mann could maybe get Mann a director's cut out where he can retrieve some of the footage. Beautiful. There's a whole bunch of battles that are
the way that whole scene's set up though, Ross, because you've got that conversation between Voman and I'm having to think about how to pronounce the names here. Kampenpfeffer.
Yeah,
Sam also sounds like I'm going to say a farty pfeffer or something. but when that whole scene set up, and the major spoiler here, and Vorman's got his back turned, I'll just say you see the true. I mean, you already see it, but you just see how evil Kampenpfeffer is from what he does. That would have probably been his best chance of getting out of there as well, Ross. And it wasn't guaranteed. The minimal chance he would have probably had of
100%,
even surviving, and that is completely trashed in that moment.
100%, and that's like, as they said, a reflection of the Nazis' evil.
Yeah.
He doubles down instead, kills his own soldier instead of escaping. What happens in that time? His entire unit's executed by Molazar, and he took. Obviously, we didn't talk about the relic. Kusa had the cross that was given to him. He gave it to Voman, and Campfire takes it out of his hand after he shoots him in the back, thinking it will protect him from Molazar, which we know is probably
just doesn't matter, because Molazar's just
based on what we've seen, probably not the case.
And the irony there as well, you've got this very evil man all of a sudden finding faith in 1 second and thinking that's going to help. I'm like, dude, you're evil. That's
to try to ward off the demon. Not the way it plays out in a Michael Mann Grindhouse film, my friend. Shoots him in the back. Where was I?
We were just on about the scene where Molazar completely taken out the whole regiment.
Getting out into the courtyard. So the terrified Campfire is killed by Molazar as Kusa goes to remove the talisman from the keep. When Eva attempts to prevent him from doing so, Kusa refuses Molazar's command to kill her. In response, Molazar returns Kusa to his diseased state. I thought that was a nice note too, Gaz. Willing to cure him to get what he wants, willing to return him to his original state when he doesn't get what he wants.
And that was quite a good exchange between Dr. Kusa and Molazar as well. Just before that happens, the dialogue between them both was quite good.
Yeah, Francis, there's quite a few games that use these themes, as Gaz said. If you haven't played like Wolfenstein, even the original remake, and then New Order and New Colossus,
Extinction, definitely.
Blood, they're all incredible. I'm a big fan of the Wolfenstein series. Always wanted a film. There is that short film, that fan film that we saw on YouTube a while back, Gaz. That was also crazy. Okay, so Kusa refuses an attempt to kill his own daughter. In response, Molazar turns him to his diseased state. Glaken arrives, retrieves the talisman, and confronts Molazar. Glaken was kind of down in the pit after he got shot up, but he kind of regenerated with the green blood. After their battle, the latter is weakened and banished back into the innermost recesses of the keep. Glaken is transformed into a storm of light and seals the aperture that freed Molazar, containing the entity within once more. The villagers, freed from Molazar's influence, escort Eva and Kusa away. I love the whole sequence of the third act. The way it ends on like that freeze frame. I know that's like an 80s theme, Gaz, but they could have had a cooler freeze frame than that. Like it would have been nice
just looking,
what happened to Molazar? Is he back in the tomb? Is like, what state did he get returned to? Or maybe like just a pull out wide shot of the keep. I would have preferred another shot. I'm sure there is one in the 210 minutes of footage.
That's what I was wondering, because Eva looks back. She looks directly back at the camera, and that ultimately that has you asking the question,
what's she looking at?
AJ, what is she looking back at? Was the glint of light coming from somewhere when Glaken's, sealed off Molazar and they've gone to watch, I don't know, the best of golf or something together for eternity, I don't know, whatever they like to do. So if we'd have got that shot of the keep, like a glint in light or something like that, I know that was like, as you said, a thing they like to do on the original Friday Night movie, not the terrible version with Colin Farrell, the way the original ends. You see a shot of somebody's eyes in Jerry Danvers' house, same way, well, somebody has survived. And it's simple, it works. So yeah, I would have liked that shot of the, even if it was just the keep, as you said, Ross, or a light or something, and that is probably in the unedited version, which hopefully we may see one day.
Yeah, we'll cover these, Slippy. So there is the 4K, I think maybe Arrow Video again, and there's also a 1080p trailer out on YouTube. So check those out, guys. So yeah, I don't know. Just drop whatever thoughts you guys have in the chat. We'll go on to themes. Writer Stephen Ryben notes in his book Michael Mann, Crime Auteur, that the Keep does not construct a view of the world in which simple and unambiguous forces such as good and evil do battle. Man clearly finds human evil in the failure of systems. Man, as in Michael Mann, two ends, clearly finds human evil in the failure of systems and not in the individuals, citing the fact that the Nazi soldiers in the film pillaged the metal crosses from the stone fortress for economic gain, unwittingly unleashing the evil spirit of Molazar. Ryben also asserts that despite the narrative's core thematic events, man is more concerned with crafting a visual and sonic fairy tale, which I'd say is fairly accurate. Filming. Principal photography began in September 82 in Wales with an original shooting schedule of 13 weeks. Filming was grueling, and once principal photography was finished, additional reshoots were done, which extended the filming for a total of 22 weeks. The sets for the Romanian village were built at the disused Glyn Ronwy quarry, a former slate quarry near Llanberis in North Wales. Some interiors of the keep utilized the stonework within the Lechwed State Caverns near Blaenau Festiniog. Due to heavy rain, the film suffered significant delays in its shooting schedule. Shepperton Studios near London was used for interior keep scenes featuring the demon Molazar. A secondary crew also went to Spain for footage depicting Greece. English historian and film costume designer Andrew Molo, brother of John Molo of Star Wars fame, worked as a historical consultant for the German military costumes. In spite of the fact that the wartime Waffen SS members typically wore gray or field uniforms, according to Molo, Michael Mann was insistent that they wear their iconic black uniforms to let the audience know Burns' character and his men were Nazi fanatics. And I think it definitely got the point across. I mean,
to distinguish them. Yeah.
It's a grindhouse folk horror film, guys. I mean, it's nice to have historical accuracy when you can have it. A director like Michael Mann is going to get his say, right? Because he's Michael Mann. He's one of the greatest directors of all time, in my opinion. So, but whilst this is like an early work for him, you know what I mean? You can see that later in his career, he completely goes off. Here's where we get into the difficulties. Special effects. The appearance of the film's malevolent villain, Molazar, was changed several times during filming because Michael Mann was unsure of how he wanted him to appear. Initially, Molazar was envisioned by Mann as an intangible entity whose appearance should be influenced purely by his surroundings. However, this description as it appeared in Mann's screenplay proved difficult for the special effects team to create. Mann ultimately settled on the entity initially appearing as an amorphous ball of energy, which begins to take human shape with each appearance as the film progresses, morphing from a bundle of energy resembling a human nervous system to a skeletal and then muscular form, ultimately a statuesque golem-like body in the film's climax. A mechanical version of Molazar, which was designed early on during production, ultimately went unused due to Mann's shifting ideas about the monster's appearance, and instead the creature was portrayed by an actor in a bodysuit in its later humanoid stages. The film's special effects were designed by Nick Maley, along with Nick Alder, who had previously worked on Alien and The Empire Strikes Back. Molazar was conceived by Anki Bilal. So a lot there about Molazar's look, guys. And again, that's why I think you could do a lot with, even animation treatment. Like a Peter Chung short film or animated series. Video games, animation, comic books, graphic novel. You could really, like Gaz said, let's get a graphic novel of Molazar's origin back when he was the Sorcerer King. What happened to him and how did he go through his transformation? I mean, you could unpack a whole.
Glaken would have come on the scene as well because he's
both stories. Glaken's obviously from a family that tracks the keep and is in charge of banishing it. A bit of a sorcerer bloodline. Let me just catch up real quick because I don't know what you guys are talking about. You guys talk about Halloween. Jamie Lee Curtis. That's a no, Jay. Is that a B grade movie? I've never heard of it. I guess, but I mean, Michael Mann is considered like one of the best directors of all time. I'm with the Piano Keys. I like the Nine Inch Nails mix.
Red. We've played the Wolfenstein games while we were referencing them, and
I've played every Wolfenstein ever made. Red, I'm a Wolfenstein fanatic. Okay, not everyone ever made. I didn't play that crappy VR cyber pilot piece of crap.
Yeah, I remember when you showed me that.
Every other shooter I've played. Gaz and I play Youngblood together, the only co-op one. Bro, it's maybe it's possible, bro. Like they have some names in this. It's cool. I mean, and that's why remake or sequel treatment would be interesting. Post-production troubles. What would films be without them? 2 weeks into post-production, visual effects supervisor Wally Weavers died, which caused erroneous problems because nobody knew how he planned to finish the visual effects scenes of the movie, especially the ones that were planned for the original ending. According to Mann, he had to finish 260 shots of special effects himself after Weaver's death. The original climax that Mann envisioned, you'll like this, guys, involved Glaken and Molazar in an epic effects-laden battle on top of the Keep Tower, ending with Glaken opening an energy portal that blasts forth from the ground of the Keep. The two were to fall from the Keep wall and get sucked into the portal and tumble through a void. After that, Glaken would materialize in the cavern below the Keep by a pool and be reawakened as a mortal man. With the production extensions in the film already having gone well over budget, Paramount refused to pay for the filming of the additional footage needed for this finale, necessitating that Mann instead opt for the simplified conclusion present in the film's theatrical cut. So right there, guys, a massive battle between Glaken and Molazar.
They've been insane. Because it does have that dark fantasy vibe, and it already, bro, it even had me thinking of The Thing, and also The Thing did a film set like in World War II.
Yeah,
some World War II soldiers come across The Thing.
Because when I first saw Glaken, I wasn't sure if Molazar had possessed him. So I'm like, is he using one of the humans outside? So I mean, you could play. I'm sure Molazar has that power, so that's another thing you could play around with.
Well, you certainly think that when Glaken is journeying to the keep and he comes across that guard post, and there's the two soldiers, Glaken's on the motorcycle. And they ask him to get off it, Ross, and he uses, I guess, some kind of equivalent of Jedi mind tricks except with his eyes. So yeah, definitely could see that.
Yeah, more interesting themes there, and I wonder how much those got fleshed out in the lost footage. So I mean, I have a lot of cuts on what could be, what else could be done, and then Gaz will kind of update us on things going down.
Francis 100 with you there, definitely.
Yeah, we were talking about this. He just said it reminds him of The Thing. He just said the same thing you said, Gaz. And we were talking survival horror, but I think you could do a lot more. You could probably make a Wolfenstein-esque shooter out of this. In my opinion, that's what I'm going to fall back to.
Easy.
Gaz knows I'm a Wolfenstein fanatic fanboy. Original director's cut. Mann's original cut of the Keep ran 210 minutes in length. At the demand of Paramount Pictures, this was trimmed to around 120. Test screenings of the 2-hour cut were not favorable, so Paramount further cut the film down to 96 minutes against Mann's wishes. These last-minute cuts resulted in many plot holes, continuity mistakes, and obvious jumps in soundtrack and scenes, and issues with poor editing. Even the sound mixing of the movie could not be finished properly owing to Paramount's interference, causing every version of the movie to suffer from poor sound design. The original 3 June 1983 release was pushed back to 16 December due to the many problems in post-production. The original happier ending, which had Eva finding Glaken inside the keep after he defeated Molazar, and Eva and her father leaving Romania by boat with Glaken, was cut by Paramount in order for the film to have a shorter running time. Removal of these scenes caused confusion because numerous stills of this ending were shown in magazine coverage. The cast crew, including Mann, said in interviews that the film had a happy ending. Part of the happy ending in which Eva goes into the keep and finds Glaken was used in the 1980s TV version of the film. I wouldn't mind seeing that, guys.
All right, I didn't know that.
Other deleted scenes included more backstory between Glaken and Molazar, as we were saying, guys. Actual explanation for why Eva and Glaken fell in love. Because, it's on a bit fast forward to this movie, like, oh, it's a hot European guy. Wait, don't.
With no reflection. As well as she's no reflection.
It's pretty good, but I mean, it had a little background we lost there. Fell in love. Glaken killing the captain of the boat, the one who brings him into Romania, who tries to steal his weapon, which he used in the end to kill Molazar. More scenes between the villagers and with the father Mihail and Alexandru being killed by his sons when the keep starts to corrupt the village. That's exactly what I was saying. as all the people turning against each other, like Resident Evil 4. See, so they had that theme in there, and they lost some of it. I would have liked to seen him kill that boatman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then Francis said the same thing I said. That's awesome, dude. That's happened like a couple times this show.
No, not in this one, Jay.
No. It's not like a slasher, bro. Like you gotta see, you gotta let Molazar cook and see when he pops off. Is the biggest and most respected at the time, and other actors came A-list later. I can see that argument.
Gandalf's in it.
I can see you're a Jamie Lee Curtis fangirl, Pixie. It's all good. I do want to rewatch Halloween 1 though.
That's actually getting released at the theaters on Halloween, along with Heat is being re-released at the theaters in the next 2 or 3 weeks, I believe. I know it's coming soon.
Playing Back to the Future 1
on Halloween as well,
for the 1 anniversary, and they have a DeLorean popcorn bucket. So I've got my Toxic Avenger popcorn bucket up here. Okay, contrary to the rumor, there was going to be a scene near the ending showing Molazar killing all the... Oh, this is what I'm telling you guys. Contrary to the rumor, there was going to be a scene near the ending showing Molazar killing all the German soldiers inside the keep. Much of the effects for this scene, including shots of the soldier's head exploding, were filmed, but this scene, which would include a lot more complicated effects, were unable to be finished after Weaver's death. So they had all the executions, and that's something they should try to revive if they can. And nowadays with AI and the tech now, I would make the argument that, you know, you could find probably either a really good editor or one of these college, you know, whiz kids, you know, that's just trying to get credits on his resume that could probably clean that up with AI. Couple more things. We're not going to do all of them, but we'll do a little bit on the music because it's pretty fresh. The theme and incidental music for The Keep was composed by Tangerine Dream. The band previously worked with Mann on his first theatrical film, Thief, 1981. The score to The Keep is primarily made up of moody soundscapes as opposed to straightforward music cues. Most notably, an ambient cover of Howard Blake's Walking in the Air was featured during the end sequence of the film. Additionally, Tangerine Dream's arrangement of the Gloria from Missa Pro Natis Es Nobis by Thomas Tallis can also be heard in the film. It is credited in the vinyl release. However, it's sometimes miscredited as being taken from the Gloria of the Mass of Four Voices, which is written by Tallis during the late reign of Henry VIII, some 15 years before he composed the Gloria for Mary I. The musical score was released in several different bootleg editions of the years since the film's release. 2020, all the music that Tangerine Dream recorded for the 84 album was released in full on a box set compilation, Pilots of the Purple Twilight. And the score for The Keep was released on a standalone vinyl for Record Store Day by Universal Music Group's Canadian branch. It was subsequently made available for digital download by Universal Music Group on 30 October 2020, a few years ago. Let me see. I don't think... Well, I guess I don't know. I don't know how interesting marketing is, but Paramount released a theatrical trailer and television spots in the promotion of the film, which included various footage from the extended versions of the film that do not appear in the final cut. So that's semi-interesting. Among them are a longer conversation between Vaughman and Alexandru, in which Vaughman says that the keep looks like it was built to keep something in. A longer version of the scene where Molazar is talking with Professor Kuza for the first time. We talked about that, Gaz. Also in this scene, Kuza asks Molazar, "What are you?" one more time. Glaken talking with Eva, asking her if she found what she was looking for and if she expected to find him. Glaken touching Eva's face while she asks, "What's happening to me?" Glaken walking inside of the keep with his eyes turning white. Longer version of the ending where Glaken is standing at the entrance of the keep looking over Molazar's fog white smoke. Different version of the scene, different visual effects where Glaken is walking towards the room where Molazar is waiting for him. In this alternate scene, Glaken's sword is covered with some glowing gray light. Those sound pretty interesting. Home media, not great. VHS came out in 84. Laser on Laserdisc 2293. Goes online. 2924. Vinegar Syndrome announced the 4K UHD Blu-ray, as Slippy said, under license for Paramount. And both limited 12,000 copies of standard editions were made available the same day as part of their annual Black Friday web store. Both editions sold out within less than 48 hours. So I think it is getting a bit of a cult audience. Box office. Film was given a limited theatrical release in the U.S. by Paramount, 16 December 83 on 508 screens. earned just over $1 million opening weekend, premiering at number 13 in the national box office, remained in the release until January 84, and ultimately grossed $4 million during its U.S. theatrical run. It was regarded as a box office flop. I'm going to skip critical response. You guys can peep that, and I'll go straight to retrospective. Although a financial and critical failure at the time of its release, The Keep gained a strong fan following and is considered by some to be a cult classic. As of July 25, the film holds a 42% on the internet review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes from 19 reviews. Michael Nordine of the LA Weekly wrote in 2013, The Keep can't always keep its many moving parts in lockstep with its hinted at mythos that obscures more than it elucidates, and its cast of enigmatic characters whose precise ramblings with one another are never made entirely clear. And I think that's all just continuity issues, Gaz, as we were saying.
Agreed.
However, Nordine praised Mann's direction, saying it showed Mann's rare ability to elevate ostensibly schlocky material into something dark and majestic. And that's the thing. Mann can take something that's not the best cut, and it's going to look amazing because he's Michael Mann, real quick, it has been mentioned that Michael Mann disowned the movie, but in 2009 interview, he said that the production design and the form of the film were in better shape than the content, which is why he likes it for those aspects. So it's been said that like he disowned the film or whatever. And I have some insights on that. We'll get Jeremiah Johnson in the mix for you. I want to do a whole survival thing, and then also that movie that Revenant is the remake of, that 70s movie that me and Gaz were talking about. Don't really care about Screen 7, my boy. Where do you get old movies? Have to buy them on DVD. They never have these on Netflix, right? So DVD is still live for old movies. I can't remember last time I watched DVD. I mean, this movie's free on YouTube, Jay. So just check it out there. But there's a lot of old online DVD shops and kind of grindhouse places that have movies like this.
And also some channels, depending where you are, some channels and regular TV channels will show them a lot. Like this one, The Keep, is on TV on a channel called Legend, where they show a lot of these kind of movies. Just never got around to watching it. It's a movie I'd always heard about. People always had recommended, and I remember asking Slip in a show one time, have you heard of it? And Slip was like, oh yeah, I've heard of it. It's supposed to be good as well. And then that's how it got added to the list. Slip, I did like the way Molasar evolved through the different stages from the mist to his actual form. It kind of gave you an insight into why he was consuming those people to take form when it'd be stronger, and then wanted Dr. Kuza to take Laken's talisman out of the keep so that then Molasar could escape and essentially run rampant.
100%. All right, so we'll get an update on the content from Gaz right after this related works. A board game based on the film was designed by James D. Griffin and published by Mayfair Games. Under their Rolaids label, Mayfair Games also produced the role-playing game adventure The Keep, based on the film. So I don't know. I guess that's like, I don't know if it's like a desktop role play or what kind of role play that is, Gaz. IDW Publishing, shout out to them. I believe they're a San Diego shop, published a 2006 5-issue limited comic book series version of the original novel, written by its original author, F. Paul Wilson, and drawn by Matthew Dow Smith. The collected series included a foreword where F. Paul Wilson addressed his reason for scripting a graphic novel version. I was saying, like, it'd be like a really great graphic novel. It's already out, obviously.
We'll have to see if we can get that.
I'm down. I'm down because we'll put it on our graphic novel series, because I consider this visual presentation of The Keep my version of the movie, what could have been, what should have been. So given that he made that statement, so I have some like feedback on this. So I have two different thoughts. One is, like, a lot of people are saying, like, what if somebody could take the lost footage, take this movie, clean it up, and fix everything? Like I said, I think nowadays with AI, you would have the tech, some art school whiz kid, or even, I guess, if there's just some like Hollywood editor out there that is just like a big fan, maybe they'd be down to free. Maybe Paramount and Mann could get somebody access to all the lost scenes, replace them, fix Molasar, fix whatever special effects need fixing with AI, and just modern special effects. Like, that would be cool. And then maybe re-release, and then maybe Michael Mann could have his director's cut. But my other thought at this point is, like, I wouldn't necessarily say remake because I think there's enough here that the keep stands on its own. And every time me and Gaz watch a retro movie, we're like, a remake would be really cool. I think like just what I was saying before, like sequel, just pick it up and that's World War II. Just pick it up 100 years later, 200 years later, 300 years later. I'd like to see what route the graphic novel went, but I think there's a lot more that could go with it, Gaz. And then I know you have some inside info on that, Gaz. But any other thoughts on like fixing the current status or where you'd like to see it taken?
Well, first thing I would like to see a release of that longer version, because I think we would get more scenes with Molasar. We would get, I think, more explanation on the background to them. The story would perhaps explain some of the few plot holes as well. As for a sequel, yeah, I'm down for that. Normally I'm with you and Pixie on remakes, but this time I'm curious because apparently the remake of The Keep is planned with director Greg Nicotero, and is aiming to apparently to make it more faithful to F. Paul Wilson's novel. Excuse me a moment, folks. I've got Mollisol in my throat.
He's
Sounds so wrong now I said that. Yeah. Yeah, whatever. There's a gasism again. Yeah, and apparently the original is saying is not so faithful to the source material due to significant studio interference, which is why it was drastically cut from Michael Mann's longer version. So I do want to give the remake a chance as well. I'm down for both, Ross. I think you could do definitely a sequel. You could even do a prequel where we could see the Sorcerer King, Molasar, and Glaken. That would be pretty cool.
Imagine he's got some of that in the graphic novel.
Yeah. I mean, apparently I was reading as well, Ross, Ian McKellen was unhappy with his role in The Keep due to the production problems. Well, was unhappy with the film, not necessarily his role, due to all the production problems. So we definitely could do with seeing that unedited release, and this is quite common, as we know. They've got quite a lot of final cuts and unreleased movies in the vaults there in Hollywood that have never seen the light of day. So
100%. Yeah. To answer Slippy's question, yeah, I'd rewatch it, man. I wouldn't mind seeing that TV version. Yeah. Like I like watching different versions of movies. Like I've seen like every version of Blade Runner.
Same, just to see that different ending.
What changes? Yeah, I always like to see what changes. So yeah, interesting, guys. Remakes, sequels, graphic novels. Get at us if anybody played the tabletop game. That's basically everything for Wiki.
I do quickly want to shout out Vinegar Syndrome and going completely off topic for a couple of seconds, saying yes, I'd heard of them because they re-released another film that apparently had spent decades in the vault, Ross, and that was one of Mac's favorite ever movies, and that was New York Ninja, which is hilariously as bad as it sounds.
Sounds like Gaz is our resident. I have a little something for you guys that I'm going to tell you off air that reminded me something that's going to be up your alley. But yeah, I would definitely watch this again, Slippy, as you're saying.
Same.
Yeah, Alien 3, like David Fincher was not happy with Alien 3 at all. And what's the parallel there? David Fincher goes off to be arguably maybe one of the best directors out right now. So it definitely happens, guys. Like people always think like, oh, the director, he gets paid millions of dollars. I'm sure he's going to get final cut. And I'm sure, but with like Gaz said, with the studio interference, it's totally film by film contract. I know for a fact, David Fincher usually insists that he's given final cut. They did with Zodiac. They don't always give it to him though. So he has it written into his contract. I think he learned that from doing Alien 3. He probably felt like final cut was robbed for him. And he's also, for just a little background on David Fincher, if you guys don't know, he makes millions and millions off commercials. And that's like 5 to 10 minutes of work compared to movies being 2 to 3 hours of, final cut work. So he has probably the most leverage in Hollywood when he says, hey, listen, here's what my agent says I get paid. Here's final cut in my contract. If you don't like that, I walk. And he's done that to many studios where they're like, I want David Fincher. And he's like, do I get final cut? You know what I mean? And then he's like, well, I don't have to do anything. I can direct commercials for Budweiser and, these other super corporations that pay $1 million. So it's very much like that. I think we're getting ready.
Did we answer Pixie's question as well about Jeremiah Johnson?
Very
So
true.
yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
told her I
that's
want to
right.
get it. I want to get it in the mix. It's not on the schedule
Yeah.
list. Man, there definitely are remake. I mean, if you want to argue that Mad Max Fury Road is a remake, I don't know that it is, but yeah,
Sequel.
you got some leverage there to argue it. I mean, there's got to be a remake that's better than the original. It'd be
It might take us a while to find one, but we'll look.
Might take a 3-hour show of me and Gaz looking at our phones, Googling, but I'm sure we can find it. We'll answer that one next show.
Maybe come up with 5 of all the millions.
I mean, they're out there though. I mean,
yeah.
It's like when people say that, like, unnecessary sequels are never better than the original. I mean, me and Gaz both like Army of Darkness better than Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
Right? So you can't really make the argument. I think Empire and Return of the Jedi are both far superior to A New Hope. So it's definitely out there. I mean, that's a different.
And the remastered version of Resident Evil 2, I thought was so sick. That was really good.
Yeah, they're definitely okay. Well, here's one. Who here likes The Thing? Are you guys aware that that's a remake from The Thing from Outer Space? So I mean, it's you can as much as I like Night of the Living Dead. I mean, that first one is super like black and white and slow paced, so it definitely turns up once they reshoot it in color. George Romero. Oh, I got one. It took me a while. I got one. Okay. The first one is epic. I don't want all the is it John Carpenter or George Romero? I can't remember now. The Crazies. Okay. The first one is good. I like the remake with Tim Oliphant better. You know what I'm saying? So that's one.
I'd have to, because I haven't seen them for so long. I'd have to rewatch them both and then get back to you.
Yeah. And that brings up the argument. Guys and I do want to review The Thing prequel to 2011.
Yeah.
So let's get our ratings ready. What did you rate The Keep out of 10 on IMDb? It has a 5.7, which is criminal. 16,000 fanboys have watched it, but not any educated ones. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10, and that's even with whatever the hell that abomination of of a final cut that Paramount made. I'm at a 7 out of 10. Guys, thought it was awesome. Definitely would like to see the lost footage. Definitely interested in the remake. Definitely want to check out the graphic novel. I think there's a ton of runway for Radu Molazar to get fleshed out.
Agreed. I'm the same as you, 7 or 7.5. I love the whole mixing with the horror and the historical setting. I want to throw this out there. I cannot remember now. I'd have to go and search it, but apparently there is another kind of mix of World War II and horror where it's set on a U-boat, Ross, from what someone told me. And they're obviously trapped, but obviously so deep down in the ocean. So I thought, man, that sounds sick. That could be really good if all the effects, suspense and everything. So if anybody knows, certainly get at us for that. But yeah, I'm the same as you. Because this isn't the true cut, there is some noticeable editing issues, a few potholes, some of the pacing, but overall it's a good suspense film. Like a lot of good subplots to it as well, engaging characters, good performances, good fusion of the horror with the World War II setting. A very enjoyable movie. So yeah.
Soundtrack is sick. Shout out Tangerine Dream, as we all said. Sound mixing, not great. I wonder if that's another thing. If they have the audio tracks, they're probably on like
which goes up and down, doesn't it?
What do you call that, guys? Reels, when they had the old audio, how music used to be recorded. So if they have those, if they can upload those to digital and then clean them up with AI, I think you could fix the sound mixing issues. We haven't done the Warriors yet, but I love the Warriors. That's a PXF.
Game was good as well. Well, I know some people didn't like it.
The Warriors, we riot. We do need to do the Warriors. Christine is sick. We know that Zodiac may have been into the car, which is a possessed car. Christine also a possessed car. Stephen King. They've always talked about a Warrior remake. It never manifests, and we pray that it never does. I'm not sure what the Wanderers is. So I think that's everything, guys. I got to go run to the editors. We got to keep him happy, and also got to do some automobile things. Next, what do we have next? That does it for Zodtoba Horrors. The next one we're going to be dropping, I don't know, Gaz, I want to try to get a little pop-up show if we can get the Days of Sodom trailer reaction. that we
Wasn't
do
it the
those
Running
quick
Man
guys.
next? Yeah.
Huh?
Wasn't it the Running Man next, OG?
No, that's I think that's out to December. Next
Right.
is Boondock Saints 2, All
Oh
Saints
yeah,
Day. Hopefully
yeah,
having
yeah,
our boy Crypt Rick joining us, possibly Lauren
yeah.
Lepre if the schedule permits. But we do want to do the Crow Days of Sodom trailer reaction for our boy
Yeah.
Cody. So we'll try to get a pop-up going next week. We do those in 10 or 20 minutes, guys. We just react to the trailer. It's nothing special. Actually, it's quite funny if you watch our Crow 2024 I was unable to complete it sober. So this time we'll try a sober Ross, and we'll see how I do in a movie that I'm actually in. I won't be roasting it because I actually appeared in this one. But go subscribe to Wet Paint Pictures YouTube. Shout out to Cody. So we'll get that up, and then I might do one other Halloween pop-up show relating to some Zodiac stuff, relating to movies and such. So then after that, we're Boondocks, and then we pretty much have next month locked out. We'll post that schedule for you guys soon. But Boondock Saints 2, All Saints Day. We want to do Starship Troopers OG because Gaz and I are both Starship Troopers super fans. The only thing is I'm traveling, so we might have to bump that to the 9th, Gaz, to Sunday possibly. Or we'll work. I'll work around Gaz's schedule, guys. We'll get it done. November 15th, The Running Man. When I say The Running Man, I mean OG Stephen King, OD Arnold, not freaking Glenn, what's his name, from that poopy trailer that's out right now. Boycott, PXF boycott in effect. No Running Man remake. We're invoking your rule, Pixie. Yeah. No remakes on Running Man. Then we got reference. Go ahead.
Well, here's a reference, Leo G. With that said, then, so do you think in this remake that they're actually climbing for dollars?
I don't think there's no question. I'd buy that for $1. I don't think there's any question. Shout out to Smash TV. No Country for Old Men, November 22nd, followed by #1 fanboy. We're going back to Nazi exploitation. Falls right into the keep. Guys mentioned it. Sisu 2, Road to Revenge. Sisu 1 is freaking fire. Go watch that Sisu 1 trailer. Go watch our Sisu 1 review. It's out now on Blu-ray. Get it on Amazon. I'm a Sisu fanboy. I actually prefer it to John Wick. I love the World War II backdrop. Yeah, I'm reading Gunther right now. Was it What Really Happened? So I'm kind of back on my DB Cooper stuff. I got a couple ideas for Cooper shows. I don't love doing the live interview, guys. I've done like 50 of those now, guys. So the process is graining on me. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, but where I can do it, I'll try. Thank God that you've not seen this trailer, Pixie, because you would block our channel if you saw that trailer. It doesn't look good. I don't even mind that actor. He did okay in Top Gun 2, but I just don't want to see him in The Running Man. So we'll do OG, and then we're filling out our December schedule. We have most of it. Probably get a couple picks from Gazzy in there for some of his PXF classics. So that's that. Tune in next time for Boondock Saints 2, All Saints Day. The Boondock Saints novel, Blood Origins, written by Troy Duffy, is out now. I don't know if it's only audiobook. I know you like, the expanded universe, guys. So there's the Boondock Saints graphic novel out there, and now there's the actual novel. Shout out Troy Duffy. Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. Yeah. It did, and it's a bit how I felt during the trailer reaction when I had to take a shot every second.
Well, I'm glad it did, because I had 6 months of pain before that, where I was reminded by my good friend and colleague here, Ross, that the new Crow movie was coming, where literally every review at that time I was just...
I don't want to get on my boy Bill Skarsgård because he's actually a dope actor. What was it called? Boy Kills World was actually
that was awesome.
Kung Fu movie. So if they would have made the remake like that, I think you would have had more of an argument. Like, okay, nobody wants to compare this to the Crow OG, but yeah, I don't know. I just saw him in the Alto Nights. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but I'm a De Niro fanboy, so we're not going to allow any De Niro slander here. Sorry, bud, I'm Sicilian, as is De Niro.
It's weird. It's weird because I don't normally like really super slow-paced movies, as you know, but I actually like The Irishman. A lot of folks didn't, but I enjoyed it.
Return of Pesci, Harvey Keitel. Yeah. I mean, you can't say that the acting talent wasn't there, because it certainly was. I don't know how I feel about the de-aging nonsense, and that would be interesting for the keep if one of these AI wizards, could keep those actors the same if they needed to AI scenes to fix the continuity, because that would be interesting. So yeah. The remake got you stuck in third person. I feel it. I feel like that regularly. So that's that. Join us next week for Boondock Saints, and we'll keep the updates coming. The Crow Days of Sodom coming soon. Check out the trailer on Wet Paint Pictures. And I think that's it for now. We'll, obviously, like, sub, and share. Check out Dark Military, The Rogue. dropping on PXF on Halloween. It's on Lauren Leprey's channel now, Average Superstar TV. You can subscribe that as well. The first PXF official me EPing credit produced is Camera X2K, a P. You're going to have to go look at the poster and see the title of the film. Don't think YouTube's going to be too sensitive on those words. So that'll be dropping soon as well. It is out on a couple kind of random distributors, so it'll be up on Tubi and Amazon Prime, the bigger stuff that you guys know as. So shout out to Pixie for helping out with the links. Thanks everybody for coming through, and join us next week for the Boondock Saints 2 All Saints Day. We'll try to squeeze in a couple shows in between. Anything else, Gazzy? Sub Mosh Shinobi?
Just thanks to everybody for coming through. Be good to talk about Boondock Saints and all the other things that we've got scheduled and other things we're working on and so much more. And yeah, if you've not seen this movie, go check it out. It's worth a watch. A lot of interesting elements, and have a good one, y'all, and peace out.
Heat has been requested. We do have Heat on the schedule for December. Yeah. Shout out to those Louvre heisters in France. Those guys were different. 7 minutes in and out with the jewels. Different heist. And you can check out my Payday streams at twitch.tv/Planet X Games. There's a little Payday 3 heister plug. We're out. Peace. I'm not a crook. Live to get radical. Like, sub, share. Click the join button to get a membership. Z-Files main series episode 5. The Lake Herman Road ambush coming soon. We're out. Thanks for coming through.